There's a version of you that doesn't second guess everything they say. A version that doesn't replay conversations in their head at a.m., wondering if you are the problem. That version of you isn't gone. They just got buried under someone else's reality. Here's a question I want you to sit with for a second. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely drained, confused, and somehow guilty even though you didn't do anything wrong? Think about that, because the answer to that question might be the first crack in the mirror that toxic people use to control your mind. Let me be clear about something right now. Toxic people don't walk around wearing black cloaks and whispering evil plans. That's not how it works. The most dangerous ones sit across from you at dinner. They share your bed. They sign your paychecks. They text you good morning. And their power doesn't come from yelling or violence. It comes from something way more subtle. It comes from making you question your own grip on reality. I've seen this happen to smart people. I mean, really smart people. Lawyers, therapists, executives. People who can read a 100-page contract in one sitting but can't see that someone close to them has slowly, methodically rewritten the rules of their relationship. And that's the terrifying part. You don't realize you're being controlled until you're already deep inside the maze. So how do they actually do it? How does one person quietly take over another person's mind without them even noticing? Let me walk you through the first layer, because this is where it always starts. They don't attack your logic. They attack your instincts. That gut feeling you have when something feels wrong, they train you to ignore it. They do this by constantly shifting blame back onto you in ways that feel reasonable. You bring up a concern, and somehow, 5 minutes later, you're apologizing. You say, "Hey, that comment hurt me." And they say, "I was just joking. You're too sensitive. My ex used to say the same thing about me. And look how that turned out." See what happened there? Suddenly, the conversation isn't about their behavior anymore. It's about your sensitivity. It's about your past. It's about your flaws. And you walk away feeling like you just lost an argument that you didn't even start. That's not an accident. That's a tactic. And the real damage isn't the argument itself, it's the slow erosion of your self-trust. After enough of these moments, you stop bringing things up. You tell yourself, maybe I am overreacting. You start filtering your own emotions before they even reach the surface. And that's exactly where they want you. Quiet, doubtful, easy to manage. But here's where it gets even more unsettling. Once they've weakened your instinct to trust yourself, they start introducing something called intermittent reinforcement. Fancy term, simple reality. They give you just enough good moments to keep you hooked. One day they're cold and distant. The next day, they're sweet and attentive. One week they ignore your needs. The next week, they buy you a thoughtful gift and act like nothing happened. And your brain, your beautiful, pattern-seeking, hope-driven brain starts chasing the high of the good days while minimizing the bad ones. You tell yourself, see, they do care. I was being too harsh. And that hope becomes the leash they hold. You're not staying because things are good. You're staying because you're addicted to the memory of the last time things were good. And here's a personal thought I've developed over years of watching this happen to people I care about. Toxic people don't actually want you to leave, but they also don't want you to be happy. They want you to be manageable. There's a difference. A happy, confident person asks questions. They set boundaries. They say no. A manageable person stays tired, stays confused, and stays grateful for the smallest breadcrumbs of kindness. That's the real goal, not to destroy you, just to shrink you. Now let me tell you about the most powerful weapon in their toolbox: gaslighting. I know that word gets thrown around a lot these days, but let me give you the real version of it, the quiet, daily version. It's not always that never happened. Sometimes it's you're remembering it wrong. Sometimes it's wow, you really love playing the victim, don't you? Sometimes it's just a long sigh followed by silence, which says more than any words could. They don't need to rewrite history. They just need you to stop trusting your own version of it. And once that trust is gone, they can do almost anything, because you'll sit there, holding the evidence of your own eyes and ears, and still ask yourself, but what if I'm the crazy one? And that's the deepest cut. That's not just manipulation anymore. That's a slow erasure of your identity. But here's what most people don't realize. The reason this works isn't because toxic people are geniuses. It's because most of us are raised to be polite, to give the benefit of the doubt, to assume good intentions. And toxic people exploit those beautiful qualities like a hacker exploits the backdoor of a software. They know you'll stay quiet to keep the peace. They know you'll apologize even when you're not wrong. They know you'll question yourself before you question them. And as long as you keep doing that, they don't have to change a single thing. So where does the control actually break? Right here, right now. When you finally understand that the discomfort you feel around someone is not a bug in your system. It's a feature. It's your instincts screaming through the noise. And the first act of reclaiming your mind is the simplest and hardest thing in the world. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need to prove your reality anymore. You don't need to win an argument that was rigged from the start. You just need to walk away from the table when respect is no longer being served. And I'll leave you with this. The version of you that doesn't second guess everything, they're still there. They're just waiting for you to stop handing over the keys to your own mind. You don't have to convince the toxic person that they're toxic. You just have to convince yourself that you've had enough. So here's the real question, not for them, but for you. Who in your life makes you feel smaller after every conversation? And what would it take for you to finally believe that you deserve bigger than that? If this hits something real, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is sit with that discomfort for a moment longer. And maybe, just maybe, decide that today is the day you stop shrinking. So, where does the control actually break? Right here, right now. When you finally understand that the discomfort you feel around someone is not a bug in your system. It's a feature. It's your instincts screaming through the noise. And the first act of reclaiming your mind is the simplest and hardest thing in the world. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need to prove your reality anymore. You don't need to win an argument that was rigged from the start. You just need to walk away from the table when respect is no longer being served. And I'll leave you with this. The version of you that doesn't second guess everything, they're still there. They're just waiting for you to stop handing over the keys to your own mind. You don't have to convince the toxic person that they're toxic. You just have to convince yourself that you've had enough. So here's the real question, not for them, but for you. Who in your life makes you feel smaller after every conversation? And what would it take for you to finally believe that you deserve bigger than that? If this hits something real, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is sit with that discomfort for a moment longer. And maybe, just maybe, decide that today is the day you stop shrinking.